But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the
Beauty,
shirt.
a little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back. This is the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet, the 9x9, episode 72. Today is Monday, June 19th. It is our one day off every week from VNL matches, so we're going to take this Monday to talk about some volleyball. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. Happy delayed Father's Day, boys and girls, to all of our daddies everywhere, especially
this daddy. Is he an actual daddy?
I sure hope so.
Does he have kids? I really hope this man is procreating. I really do.
The world will be a better place if there's more of Dragan Stankovic's genetics walking around. But happy Father's Day to you all.
I'm sure they come out with a full head of hair. Like, like they just come, they're slicked back. We don't know where they got the gel from, but they've got it rocking from the get-go. I was messaging Rob about Father's Day yesterday, and because he is married, I was like, when are you going to be a daddy? And he was like, I already am a daddy. And turned to my girlfriend, I was like, he's going to send a picture of Pepper. And sure enough, moments later, he sent a picture of his cat. So we know where Rob sits on Father's Day. Also, Rob, I'm disappointed to say that we went through another VNL in Ottawa and we didn't get a clip to replace that damn Brett Walsh clip.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
We need to upgrade from this, please. I cringe so much every time I hear it.
Not going to happen. Sorry, buddy.
It hurts my soul.
Sorry. I mean, every time I see it, I'm looking at the man bun that's no longer there instead of worrying about your stuttering.
Thank God, right? Like, thank God. There's so many things that have gotten better. I mean, people have started making me fun of me for my fatness, and then we started a salad count when we were in Ottawa. But hey.
Yeah, well, what a couple of weeks our community has had. We've got a message in the chat. Daddy Stankovic does in fact have kids. One of them is a mopper at Lube games. That is wonderful news.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, at Lube games?
I mean, probably when he played for Lube. Maybe now it's at Modena games. But anyway. Good to see that Daddy Stankovic has done us all some favors. We do love Daddy Stankovic, but before we talk about some volleyball and before we will certainly talk more about Daddy Stankovic later on in the show, as we always do. Unfortunately, we have some really sad news to report. This news came out just the other day from Brazil with the VNL women's leg going on in Brasilia. We had the sudden, unexpected passing of Argentinian referee Hernan Cast Michala, who passed away at age 58 while working as the challenge referee in Brazil. And just really tough news. Totally unexpected, obviously, only 58 years of age, and he'd had a lot of impact on volleyball in Argentina, in South America, and globally. So we wanted to extend our condolences to the Argentinian volleyball family and ask Hernan Cast Michala to rest in peace and thank him for his service to volleyball this week.
Yeah, one of the top referees in Argentina. He also I believe it was the women's final in Tokyo just a few years ago. So he was one of the top referees. I've seen him at a number of different events. So it's always tough to feel that loss. And I mean, I know we get mad at the referees sometimes. I know they're sometimes the direction of our ire, but really they're part of our overall volleyball family. And I know that there's referees around the world who are grieving this today. So obviously we want to send our thoughts to him. But moving on from that, other than the sad passing of Mr. Cast Michala, there was a lot of volleyball going on this week in Brazil and in Hong Kong. This was honestly this week was fantastic. I thought there was action all over the place. We had tons of surprise results. Rob drew up this fantastic graphic, just breaking it down of what everyone's records was, and Italy maybe getting the benefit of the schedule there a little bit, going 4-0, but they go perfect, whereas everyone else, we have no more perfect teams in the VNL. Down goes Poland, down goes USA, but down at the bottom there, Thailand and Bulgaria fighting away for that relegation spot. And Croatia, we thought they were dead in the water. They go 2-2, they come back, and of course, my lady Maple Volleys I think struggled a little bit this week. It wasn't pretty for our girls at times, and it was a bit of a tough watch, especially for what time it was at most of the time.
That is true, and we'll certainly talk about all these games. Yeah, so the last show we did was like midday Thursday. So I think we had already talked about the Thursday's games in Hong Kong, but we hadn't yet seen Thursday's games in Brazil on the women's side. And we're going to get into all of it, but yeah, I would like to echo a couple of those storylines. Italy 4-0 was a pleasant surprise, especially considering they sent out the same like not great looking B team that we saw week 1, but I agree. I think they got the benefit of a really nice schedule. They beat they 3-donged Bulgaria, but then their other 3 wins were all in 5. So they helped themselves out in the win column, but not quite so much in the points column. And then, yeah, Croatia out of literally nowhere. I mean, we could have picked that they were going to get the win over Korea. That was one of their 2 wins this week. And I mean, we can talk about Korea later, how just embarrassing they continue to be. But
we need a Korea like embarrassment count. That's what
they've lost 20 VNL games in a row.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw in our show notes that you put that there, and that's just unacceptable. How many does it include when you count FIVB? Because they must have gone 0 at World Champ last year, right? Like, when's the last time they won a meaningful FIVB match?
Don't know, don't care. It's embarrassing. I'm sick of watching them play. But also Thailand, really bad week. They got 3-donged by Croatia. That is not good. Bulgaria, really bad week. So the relegation race is going to be interesting, and we'll look at the women's standings after 8 of the 12 matches. But I think let's dig into some of the results, Everett. We're just going to go through day by day. Yeah. We're certainly not going to talk about every match because
let's just skip through them. Otherwise,
we're going to by no means are every one of these matches worth talking about in any way. But we'll start off with Thursday. We already talked about the first 3 games. Those already happened. We talked about them on the last show. But on Thursday afternoon in Brazil, the United States 3-donged Thailand, Japan 3-donged Korea. No surprises in either one of those. But Brazil versus Serbia was a banger. Brazil versus Serbia. Brazil wins it in 5 at home to avenge last year's World Championship final. I think that match is worth talking about a little bit, even though both teams are a little bit understaffed.
I think that one is the only one that's worth it. I think one of my present surprises and like good storylines in this week was the resurgence of Serbia.
Yeah,
they went 3-1. They got back into the win column, and that one loss was a really, really good effort against a good Brazilian team at home. So I think, I think Guidetti and that Serbian roster really has to be looking at things a little bit better than they were 2 weeks ago after week 1 when they went 0-4, finishing things off. But yeah, I mean, it looks like Brazil was just nice and even in this. You had 4 or 5 different athletes all in double digits, and they really shared the rock quite a bit. Taisa leading the way with 18, Kissy coming up with 16 as well.
Yeah, 18 for a middle is a big performance. It's good to see Taisa back. Yeah, 8 for 14. Is that no way? This can't be right. 9 blocks? That cannot be right. 9 blocks in one match is has to be the highest of the tournament, and that number probably won't be touched. 9 blocks,
men or women.
That's crazy.
That's absolute bonkers. She also went 8 for 14 and got an ace. Did Taisa. On the other side of the net, Uzelac still led Serbia in scoring, even though she only started the first 2 sets and then only came off the bench in sets 4 and 5, didn't touch the court at all in the third. How much volume do you need to be getting in 2 sets to have 40 sets and going 16 for 40 and still leading your team, even though you didn't play every single set? That's a little crazy, especially since they brought in Busa. Or no, was it? Oh no, they just straight up did a double sub.
Yeah, I think they really Serbia used all 4 of their outside hitters. Like Lazovic started, Busha came in, Uzelac started, and Lozo came in. But for Serbia, the fact that they even pushed us to 5 with their opposite, Ana Bjelica, having one of the worst matches I've ever seen from her, 5 for 29 with 10 errors, and she didn't get the yank. Like, how do you continue to start her all 5 sets when she's playing that badly? But I mean, I guess they got a point out of it.
But Eddie's trying a different approach. He's trying that soft approach. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Very un-Guidetti-like.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why you're pulling off Uzelac in that scenario too, because like it wasn't like she was even getting it's a little crazy out there. Do they have Uzelac on the left side?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, she's
barely passing.
That's true. She kind of is. I wonder what they're doing with shifting people over. I mean, yeah, Busha's got a million attempts. I mean, maybe she's just getting relentlessly targeted every time she's in there. Yeah, it's just some interesting stuff. I think if these two were to play again, like in the playoffs with maybe Tiana Boskovic in the picture, maybe you get Dircha back at setter, then maybe you get Gabi. You're not going to get Ana Cristina, and I think that is worth talking about, that Ana Cristina had a minor surgery. She's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. So no more VNL for Ana Cristina. And Olympic qualifiers is going to be pushing it. So the Brazilian outside hitter position right now is definitely a question mark. And we've got a good point in the chat. Yeah, Julia Bergman, not good at all. 0 for 14 with 6 errors. Like, they got to get Gabi back as soon as possible now in Ana Cristina's absence, or they're gonna have a pretty low ceiling on what they can do this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. But not only this summer, I'm looking more at the Olympic qualifiers, because Brazil's one of those teams that's always expected to qualify. They're always expected to win. They're always expected to be in that top group. So I'm wondering who's going to be able to pick up. I can't even remember what pool they're in at the moment. That's a conversation for another time. Probably after the end of the VNL, once we actually see what this Brazilian squad looks like. But this is not a good look so far for this Brazilian team. They're going to want to continue one of the top teams in the world.
Yeah, especially playing at home, I was expecting a little bit more. We did see Rosa Maria later in the week play really well, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, on the wings, it really just kind of shows how important Gabi Guimarães really is, and how just unbelievable she is in attack and reception and just every single area. So kind of a slugfest between two undermanned, normally world-class teams. Good for Brazil getting it done. That was Serbia's only loss of the week. I think let's move on to Friday's games. Yep. Unfortunately, started off with the female Maple Volleys getting 3-donged by a Turkish team that looks extremely good.
Not only does this Turkish team look really good, but Melissa Vargas is looking legitimately like the best player in the world at this moment. Right in this moment, she is just absolutely unreal. We're going to talk about her unreal performance against the Dominican Republic on Sunday. But this one was a tough one to watch. And I remember I got home from work, and it was the game was at like 1:30 a.m. Eastern time, and I got home from work, and it was 10-8 or 11-8 for Turkey. And so I was like, okay, Canada's in it. Turn it on immediately. Bree King serves an ace. I was like, beautiful. 11-9. Next serve, overpass. Let's go. Like let's push this. We can make it 11-10. Get in there. Unfortunately, on the overpass, Canada hit it out, and it goes from being 11-9 to 21-12. And it was just a complete unraveling. And it's those little points that I think we need to get better at, because the exact same thing happened in the third set where Canada was actually leading 11-8. And then there was a bad error. And then all of a sudden, Turkey came storming back. I mean, this one was, what was it, Rob? 15, 22, and 20 for Canada in this one. Even the 22 in that second set, that looks like, oh, Canada was in it. We weren't really, because we were down 20-12 in that second set as well. So it's a little bit of that inexperience for me, where we're losing those crucial battles earlier in the sets and then just unraveling after that. I mean, Turkey is a very, very good team, and they are kind of a bit on a heater, especially now with one of the best coaches in the world behind their bench, but was expecting a little bit more fight, a little bit more pushback from this Canadian team, especially given how many of our girls play in Turkey, right? Kira Van Rijk plays in Turkey. Alexa Gray is on her way to playing. Maggie plays in Turkey. Kind of the list goes on and on. So bit of a disappointing result, not an unexpected result, but would have liked us to have seen us take at least one set. And I know in the past we've pushed Turkey pretty hard, so maybe even push them to 5, steal a point. But
yeah,
that's how I feel sometimes.
Canada, I think, is really feeling Jen Cross's absence right about now. The second middle blocker position has not been good at all. I don't know why we didn't see Lane Van Buskirk in this game, but Jazz White, Alicia Ogums, both not good at all. I know Kira Van Rijk is working her way back into things, and I think that of all teams that can scout against her well, it would be Turkey, but she wasn't very good. 9 for 27 with 6 errors. That I agree that Turkey and Canada on the women's side are on different levels right now, but Canada did beat Turkey at VNL last year. This is a game that I agree with you. I would like to see the maturity level of Canada increase in general, and the just like sort of emotional intelligence in different situations, like, you know, leading 11-8, down 11-8, not to give up that gigantic run that followed in both of those two sets, like you talked about. That sort of thing is something I'd like to see them fix.
You mentioned Jen Cross, and as much as physically I think they're missing her in the middle, I think it's more so her experience and her leadership on this team. Like, she is the only cornerstone of the old guard. She's been in this program for 12 plus years. Like, she's been around. She's seen a lot of different versions of Canadian women's volleyball, and she has a lot of experience to pull to. You know, even going back to her Michigan days where they pushed all the way to a Final Four. You can tell, like, right now, Alexa Gray is wearing the bar, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But Alexa Gray isn't a very vocal leader, right? She's not a very like rah person. Like, Jen Cross is consistently talking, for better or for worse. And Jen's a good friend of mine, and she knows that. But you're really seeing those leadership situations kind of pull away, and they really need to find someone who's going to be vocal and kind of bring them together on the court. I was really hoping Bree King would be that person, but it's not really quite there yet. So I don't know if it's a skill thing that Canada's struggling as much, or it's more so of a leadership thing right now, and they look a little bit lost, especially in those big droughts of points sometimes, and they need someone just to kind of to put the team on their back, whether like a little bit emotionally, and push them forward.
I completely agree with that. I don't think it is a skill problem. I think Canada is skilled enough, especially on the wings, but that emotional leadership looks a little bit lacking right now. On the Turkey side, before we move on, Melissa Vargas, terrific, 14 for 27. She's definitely been the best player in VNL so far. I don't even think that's close, but she is making a case to is really be in that conversation for straight up best player in the world. And we also saw Abra Karakurt on the left, who played pretty well, 12 for 19, 37% efficiency, passed the ball decently, 57% positive. That is a good sign, because the other outside hitter position for Turkey, not good. Ilkin Aydin, not good. Hande Baladin off the bench, really bad. So that hole continues for the Turkish women, and maybe they've filled it with Karakurt, but they've still got to get somebody out there across from her to not be a total black hole out there. So we'll talk about Turkey, especially in the Dominican match, like you mentioned. But when you have Melissa Vargas, who, again, has been the best player in VNL.
She's leading VNL in scoring right now, 162 points through the first 2 weeks. She's been unreal. Also leading VNL in aces, too, with 14.
Not surprising.
She has
two in this game, and no errors, no service errors. That's amazing.
That's the biggest thing about her game when I watch. Like, she puts the ball in with pace consistently. Like, she knows how to put in an 80% ball 100% of the time, which is really, really good and really, really good skilled. Like, I think we've been sleeping on her a little bit in the past few years, just because she doesn't play international ball, and in clubs she plays a lot of her years in China. But man, does she look good right now. All right, moving on from this this loss. The next one that I think we need to touch on is the Netherlands, a team that we had kind of written off as a rebuilding team through this VNL, ending Poland's unbeaten streak, handing them their first loss and their only loss so far of the tournament.
Out of literally nowhere, too.
Out of
nowhere. Poland's first loss. The Netherlands, I think, were just kind of unconscious in this match. 45% efficiency as a team is insane. I mean, Dalderop, 44%. Jolien Nolam, a 41%. Like, they didn't even need Celeste Plock. Like, this was a banger. Let's see, who played opposite for him? Ellis Dombrink, who I've never heard of, 6 for 19, like, perfectly fine performance. They passed the ball great, blocked the ball pretty well, just like kind of out of nowhere. Netherlands looked unbelievable, and Poland just looked a little bit sleepy. I know they had a tricky schedule where they had a bunch of matches in a row. Poland statistically not bad. Other than reception, they weren't super good, but on offense, Poland was fine. I just think they kind of had an off match, and they certainly rebounded the following day, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think they had Turkey, Netherlands, China in 3 days in a row. That's a lot of volleyball against pretty good teams, and it's not that crazy to think that you fall asleep against the Netherlands, who kind of have been an afterthought this tournament. And the Dutch got hot, and they grabbed a 3-dong win. Like, very impressive, came out of nowhere, but I don't think there's any concern on the Polish side. Just lost to a team playing great that day.
Yeah, especially like when you look at it, I guess they were playing. They were playing their guys. Like Rosansky was out there, Korneluk was out there, Stesiak was playing. So yeah, I think
they were all pretty good. That's the thing. Like Stesiak 15 for 29, 45% efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's not terrible. Even like 37% efficiency. It's not fantastic. It's not great, but it would almost. I would expect Poland to be able to win a match with that. So big ups there for the Dutch. I mean, that's probably going to be one of the few bright spots in their tournament this year.
Yeah, got a point in the chat saying that Britt Bongartz had an awesome setting performance for the Netherlands, and I believe it. If your team hits 45% efficiency, you got to give the setter a ton of credit. So good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. What else happened on Saturday? We're talking about Saturday right now. Yeah,
we're talking about Friday, and I mean, it's worth talking about China beating Bulgaria in 4 only because of the set scores. I'm not going to look at the stats of this match. Not worth it. Bulgaria is bad, but Bulgaria won the first set 25-20. After that,
oh my god. Yeah. I just saw the set score.
25-7. 25-10, 25-15. Embarrassing. That's like it's like kick a garbage can level embarrassing. 7 followed by 10? What are we doing?
I don't even want to look at those set scores because that just
gross.
That's absolutely embarrassing there for Bulgaria, as those two. Oh, I mean, China is good, and I know because they slapped Canada around this week, but Bulgaria, you need to be better. You need to be better than that. Yeah.
Oh.
That's absolutely disgusting. The next one to look at, there was a lot of big games today. Germany over Japan in 5.
Yeah, Germany had a great week. 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. And
they really did.
A couple big wins. Their only loss was to Brazil on the road, and beating a Japanese team that had been previously really good is, I mean, very impressive. Hannah Orthman, really good. Lena Alsmeyer, Lena Stigro, both pretty good. Great in the middle on both sides.
To me, this was truly like, this is Heinen at his best right now, right? Because Japan is a team that they need to be very efficient. They need to not make a lot of errors. And I mean, they were only at 29% efficiency. That's a low efficiency as a team for a team like Japan.
12 blocks for Germany.
Yeah, exactly. 12 blocks for Germany. So once again, we've talked about it. Heinen isn't a clown when he's with like a kind of an underachieving team. Like, this is a brick and mortar type team. You set up a system, you set up a structure, you work around it, and they're going to get results. And hey, you're seeing it right now for Germany. And I think they've also got some talent, especially on the pins with Siegot, Osmeyer, and of course Orthman. They've got some good things going on, and this win against Japan here really proves it.
It is interesting that Germany's moving around which of those 3 characters starts at opposite. I think they are running a sort of a 3 outside hitter system thing. It's usually been Orthman at like pretty true opposite. She doesn't pass very much, but they did switch that up in the 3rd set. They moved, I think, looks like Alsmeyer to opposite and Orthman to the left, and just sort of move things around to give a bit of a different look. And all 3 of those players are much better attacking on the left. That's kind of interesting. And yeah, on Japan's side, I agree. I think they got scouted against pretty well. 12 blocks is a lot, and Germany,
especially against an offense like Japan.
Exactly.
Like they've got so many options, and they spread it out so well. If you're able to clamp 12 blocks, I know it's over 5 sets, but you're still averaging like 2.25 blocks a set. That's still pretty.
It's a lot.
Good. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then finally, to wrap up this week here, Rob, 2 teams going in very different directions here in week 2. Serbia 3-2 over Thailand.
Yeah, because we're obviously not going to talk about Croatia beating Korea. Don't bother. Serbia beating Thailand. Yeah, okay, great. But given how bad Thailand was this week, they did go 0-4. Serbia having to reverse sweep this game is actually, I would say, a bad sign for them. I mean, they went down 0-2, 26-24, 25-22. Then they destroyed the sets 3 and 4, then won set 5 in overtime, 16-14. I'm a little worried about Serbia, to be honest. You shouldn't have to rescue this match like that against a Thai team that had a really bad week.
Yes, no. I mean, I can see that, but I mean, I think Thailand is also like is a good team. Serbia is a team that's still going through it. Like once again, they lost to Canada last week. Like they went 0-4. Like, I think this is actually a good win, and I think that this is a win that at the end of the day they feel good about, right? Good teams win when things aren't going well, and
That's
clearly
true.
things weren't going well for at least 2 sets, and even in those two, it was 26-24, 25-22, so they were pretty close in terms of set score and competition. So you really like to see that. Still 28% efficiency for Serbia in this one, only to be outdone by 19% efficiency offensively as a team there for Thailand.
Bad.
That is bad. So this just looked like it was an ugly volleyball altogether, all around. But yeah, lots of errors and lots of blocks on both sides of the court for both these teams.
Whoa.
But
It was Thailand led 14-11 in the fifth. Oh, no. That's okay. That is a big old choke, and I think that kind of proves my point. Oh yeah, sure enough, 14-11. How do you give up 14-11? Oh, that's so bad.
That's see. This is where I feel like Serbia feels good about this one.
If they stole it, they absolutely
stole it.
Gross. 5-0 run. That
yeah. Thailand looks like Thailand's probably not feeling themselves.
That probably basically emotionally ended their tournament right there. If you go up 14-11 and lose in the fifth like that, I don't know how you recover from that.
It definitely emotionally ended their week 1 or week 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they were not able to recover from that.
They got 3-0 by Croatia after that. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about Saturday. Unfortunately, Everett. This is a big match for the Maple Volleys against the Dominican Republic, and it did not go your way. 15-10.
Started really good.
Yeah,
it started like that first set. We were rolling. I forget what the set scores were again.
25-22, but then you got clapped in sets 2 and 3. 13 and 17.
And fought back nicely in the fourth. I thought we showed some good character trying to fight back in the fourth. There was times where we were down 2. We were able to push a fifth. It was good to see, but just not enough. In the fifth, and you're going back to that conversation, Rob, about Jen Cross. I think we win this game with Jen Cross on the bench.
I think you do too.
Mostly because I know how much it means to Jen to beat the Dominican Republic and to be better than those Norsecan neighbors. But the Dominican they're just so high powered. 20 points for Pena, 17 for Braylon Martinez, 18 for Janiri Martinez, 17 for Lopez. They've just got such a high-powered offense. You've got 4 offensive players, all in double digits for kills. Like, it's really, really hard to play against that. And if you do, you need to come up with some strong serving and some good blocking. And I think we blocked decently with nine stuffs, 3 for Hillary Howe. She might have been our best blocker so far this tournament. She had another big one.
Oh, like another straight down highlight reel.
Oh, like another straight down Kong block. That was absolutely massive.
But speaking of blocks, 20 blocks for the Dominican Republic. That is unacceptable if you're Canada.
Our
4 blocks per set.
Our offense has just been so predictable. Like so predictable. It's been really tough to watch at times, where it's just like everyone knows where it's going. We're really not doing anything much with the middles. Yeah, like how many sets did our middles? Like Alicia Ogum started 3 sets and she got set once.
That's not acceptable.
And got blocked. Van Buskirk started the second set, got subbed in. She got 5 sets. Jasmine White
3 errors. Like that's just not good enough.
Maglio's the only one getting set, and she went 9 for 16. So that M2 position has just really been a black hole for Canada. And I was hoping that Lane Van Buskirk would step up and really help fill that role. Same thing with Jasmine White. I know that she's been having some success in the Bundesliga the past few years. Van Buskirk just signed with Busto. just a tough look there for Canada. We did get the win out of it. So even though we lost to the Dominican Republic, we do sit ahead of them in the standings. That we have 10 points, they have 7, but still tough week for Canada going 1-3.
I mean, blocked 20 times and 19 unforced errors. Those are bad numbers, and you still won 2 sets out of this match. So maybe that's a silver lining, but that level of volleyball is not good, and it's got to get better. We do have to shout out Brenda Castillo, as the chat is saying. She is the best. I love watching her play defense. She is a total X factor for the Dominican Republic, and there's no way they win this match without her.
Yeah, Agatha's saying that too many service errors for Canada in crucial moments, and I absolutely agree. Right, it's these crucial moments, and like Rob, you know, you've played where like there's these junctures in the match early on in sets where you're like, this is a big point. You can feel it, like you can feel that energy coming up, and Canada seems to get crushed in those ones. So I think it's still that growing pains of trying to learn to be an elite team, you know, and we're clearly still not there yet.
Yeah, not yet. Moving on, I think Italy beating the Netherlands in 5 with Italy's B team. Good for them. One of their 3 5-set wins on the week. This was the rare good Miriam Silla game, 26 points. And
hey, they happen to like every few months, like once a month, I'd say.
Happen a couple times a year, maybe. But I also want to talk about Poland beating China 3-0. This was a match that we billed on our last show as potentially a huge one. 2 teams that came into week 2 undefeated, and it was a 3-dong, 20-23-22. Great performance from Poland, 41% efficiency as a team, and unbelievable in the middle. 6 for 7, Korneluk, 5 for 7, Jurczyk, no errors. And then Łukasik was good, Stysiak was good, and Rosansky was acceptable. Really impressive from Poland, rebounding from the loss of the Dutch the day before.
Yeah, it's clear where the focus was, and it was on this China match.
Yep.
3-dong China, I think, is a really tough ask,
especially
with China in Hong Kong. What, like over 10,000 people there in attendance, absolutely massive. But when Poland executes like this, 41% efficiency, especially how efficient their middles were, like Korneluk was 86%, Jurczyk 71%. Neither of them made any errors. When Poland is executing like this, they're really hard team to beat. I think this team, it's interesting because I think that Poland's rise in women's volleyball is a little bit more recent than Turkey's, but right now I rate Poland higher than Turkey. Sure, they do have a better player in Melissa Varga over on the Turkey side of things, but Poland, how they work as a team right now is really chef's kiss. It's really nice volleyball to watch.
Yeah, and then they're just gonna get the best setter in the world back sooner or later, which will certainly help. I do think Poland is more well-rounded top to bottom than Turkey. I definitely agree with
that. That's what I'm getting at. And Magnolisa Stysiak is being just unleashed after kind of being. This happens every year. She plays club in Italy. They pick up another opposite. She sees limited playing time, and then just goes bananas when it comes international season. So hey, you gotta love it.
Good for her. Let's move on. Brazil versus Germany. Not really anything to talk about here. Heinen's strategy was to kind of play the bench for Germany in this game, and I agree with this. I think it worked out really well for them going 3-1 on the week. To punt this game is, I definitely think there's no problem. But I do think we should talk about Japan versus the USA. Our first loss, and there's.
I have a question to ask for you on this. Who the hell is Yukiko Wada? Who the hell is Yukiko Wada? Now, I know we're going to have some Japanese fans in the chat being like, she plays for this team and she did this and this. Fantastic. She's obviously very, very good. 32 points. She was 28 for 52 in this one. But honestly, who is Yukiko Wada? Because she just handed you guys your first loss of the tournament. I know you played your bench. Clearly,
we kind of both did. I think, both teams played the bench. Like no Seki at the very least. I don't know very much about the Japanese middles, but Wada out of nowhere. So no Inoue. 28 for 52 is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It just is a testament to the depth of the Japanese team that Inoue has been lights out this tournament. She's been fantastic.
Been awesome.
She's been fun to watch. And then they just pull out this Yukiko Wada character out of nowhere, and she's just going to go drop 32 points. We're pretty sure it's the first 30-point performance for a woman in this event. Only second to Herrera's 30-point performance against Brazil in Ottawa that we got to witness. So big ups to Yukiko Wada. Someone in the chat needs to drop us some knowledge on her, because neither of us know who she is.
Nope, never heard of her, but yeah, she put on a masterclass. And I mean, this is okay for the USA. We started Ashley Evans and Danielle Coutinho, a Purdue duo. I love both of those girls at setter and opposite. They were fine. Coutinho actually better than I expected. 17 for 48. She's usually pretty error prone. That's actually a decent match for her. Khalil Lanier has been really good. 15 for 33 in this match. She's been awesome all week. Finally, I have been talking about her. Been talking about her in the club season. Everybody on the various American message boards have been like, get this girl in the national team, Jim, and she has been awesome this VNL so far. Losing to Japan in 5, whatever. We played the B team, wanted to give a couple people some rest. We still got a point out of it. I have absolutely no concerns. Just got to give a round of applause to Yukiko Wada for pulling out a masterclass out of nowhere.
She's a 2002.
Whoa!
2002.
21.
She's 21 years old. That's pretty damn good. Only 174 centimeters, too. So she is small over on that right side.
And yeah, playing something that resembles the opposite position. That's pretty amazing.
She graduated high school in 2020.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Last but not least, on what is this, Saturday, Serbia beat Croatia, the Battle of the Balkans. Why are you dropping a set to Croatia, Serbia? Figure it out.
Hey,
figure it out.
I'm gonna ask you the exact same question.
Oh yeah, we dropped a set to Croatia because we played our bench. We got smacked, and then we put the horses in and figured it out. We did the same thing.
Exactly. So can't chirp Serbia that
I will chirp Serbia.
Drop a set to a team that you also.
I will chirp Serbia. Moving on to Sunday, the Netherlands 3-dong Bulgaria. Yeah, great. Turkey beat the Dominican Republic 3-1. I predicted a 3-dong last week. Everett clowned on me. I was certainly closer to being right. Melissa Vargas was unbelievable.
Unbelievable in this one.
58% efficiency. 2 aces and a block.
26 for 38. 29 points. She was 1 point away from Yukiko Wada there in that 30-point club.
Ooh, Gunesh had 9 blocks. Okay, so we got another 9 block performance. That's nuts.
That is nuts. Also 5 for 8 offensively too. But I was expecting more from the Dominican Republic in this one. I won't lie, because I thought if anyone was able to handle the power brought on by Melissa Vargas, I thought it'd be Dominican Republic, because their team is just made up of players who are exactly like her. But clearly just not up to snuff offensively. I think if they had done better offensively, they would have been in this match. 17% efficiency.
You mean if they would have played better, maybe the result would have been better? Yeah, breaking news, dude. 17% efficiency is awful.
I was gonna say they passed all right, but they did not pass all right. Whereas Turkey ate them up in the serve receive. 42% positive, or 42% perfect, 62% positive. They were in system a lot.
That is extremely good.
A lot. Yeah. Paladine was actually not bad in this one. 9 for 22.
Good for her. She passed the ball well. Enough said about that one. Italy with yet another 5-set win, beating China.
That's a big one.
In Hong Kong. Yeah, that's massive. 15-12 in the 5th.
China really not showing up for their home fans in this one. I mean, they're putting on shows with 5-setters, but just not getting the job done.
Yeah, 2-2 on the week for the Chinese. I mean, I'm looking at Italy's stats, and I'm not really seeing much. Put in a lot of different people. Nobody more than 15 points. Yeah, they played pretty much everybody. 2 opposites, at least 3 outside hitters, at least 3 middle blockers. Just a rotating cast of characters for Italy, and China definitely slowing down a little bit. Li Yingying 20 for 46, 26% efficiency is okay. Past that, not much. The all-around Chinese offense, not great. Reception, decent. Leads me to think that they maybe should have played better offensively. So I don't know. Maybe China's getting scouted against. Maybe their blueprint is getting figured out a little bit by some of these teams.
I wonder if Lin Yu Diao is just not that good.
Setter?
Yeah,
possibly.
Because we saw her. I don't know if I wouldn't say she did fantastically for Scandici this year.
That's different player. Di Yao
really?
is different Chinese setter. Yeah, Diao Lin Yu is a different player.
Okay, my bad then. But yeah, just because like you're seeing like the efficiencies of some of these hitters just not that great for China. Like Gong Zhangyu, 14% efficiency, only 12 for 36.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
7 errors altogether. That's a tough look. That's a tough look.
Yep, that's not quite good enough. So yeah, China definitely came back down to earth this week. The match I'm very excited to talk about is the United States 3-donging Brazil in Brasilia. And this is why I think playing a B team against Japan was a great idea. We have now beaten Brazil 6 times in a row. 6-0 in our last 6 against the Brazilian women.
Why do you feel that you would punt all games just to beat Brazil?
Because beating Brazil is awesome, especially in a true road game. I was thrilled about this. Kalia Lanier was awesome. 12 for 22, just terrific. Jordan Thompson, similar, 13 for 25, very, very good. She got our spot on the thumbnail of this show for good reason. I thought she was great this week. Good to see her back. Micah Hancock is having a great tournament. I love the offense she's been running. But I mean, Kalia Lanier is a rising superstar, and I feel validated about talking so highly of her in the club season. And I saw somebody in the chat earlier say that she's going to play for Caneliano next year, which is pretty big.
That's massive. Yeah, she leads the USA in scoring so far throughout 2 weeks, 89 points. No one in triple digits for the USA, but you can just see how many athletes are using. 89 for Lanier, 78 for Skinner, 56 for Drews, 52 for Thompson, 42 for O'Neill, 44 for Coutinho, and it still goes. The list goes on and on and on. Like you've got basically everyone's being used.
Right, which I love.
Essentially, exactly.
It's like we have a Brazilian fan in the chat saying Brazil always seems scared to play against the U.S., and I kind of agree with that. I think for some reason we just own that matchup, and kind of everybody knows it. So I love it. I would like to keep it coming. I really enjoy beating Brazil a lot. They shout outs to the women for avenging the U.S. men in the last match in Ottawa. Yeah, our girls look really good. I'm stoked. I think the U.S. women look awesome. I would like to avoid a similar first round upset to last year's VNL, but I really like the way the United States is playing right now.
Yeah, so do I. Especially without this is without horses, this is.
Yeah, still no Kelsey Robinson, still no Lauren Carlini, still no. Let's see, who else have we been missing? Still no Chako Bogu. We haven't seen her at all in the middle. So yeah, the Karch's roster management this tournament has been on point. It's worked out to a 7-1 record, and I would not have picked that given especially who we sent to week 1. So we were in a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are currently sitting in second place. I mean, that we can wrap it up there. We don't need to talk about Croatia 3-donging Thailand or Germany being the only team to lose a set to Korea so far after a fantastic week. They definitely played the edge on that one. Let's just go straight into standings there. We're going to see Poland up at that number 1 spot because they have 1 more point over the USA. But then a nice little logjam there. Only 3 points separating USA from second to Japan down in 7th. And then you see that middle of the pack with Italy, Serbia, and Canada, all with double digits. The Dutch, Thailand, Dominican Republic, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Korea.
We've got to do something about this. We've got to do something about Korea losing their last 20 VNL matches and not.
You know what we're doing? You know what we're doing, Rob? Is we're giving them a VNL in the week next week.
God, what are we doing, volleyball? Figure it out. This team is so bad. They're awful.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Instagram account Volleyball Report. Go give them a follow. They do a great job covering women's volleyball, and they posted the graphic that Korea has lost their last 20 VNL matches. And I got in the comments. I'm like, we've got to do something about this. There has to be a consequence for being so bad that you lose 20 matches in a row. And some idiot commented underneath me saying, "Oh, have they been bad, or have they just been really unlucky with their schedule?"
You guys have won 4 sets in 2 years, like in a year and a half. There's no not being unlucky with your schedule. That's just being bad.
You're bad. You're bad, and you should feel bad about your performances. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. and you're not going to get relegated. I just can't stand it. But
Yeah.
enough about Korea. Relegation race, way spicier than I thought it was going to be. Croatia picking up 2 wins this week. They lead Bulgaria by a point, but also by a win. And those two have already played head-to-head. And I think that Bulgaria's only chance is if they play Korea week 3. And I'm not sure if they do. I'm going to look that up right now.
Yeah. Is Dominican Republic, they're not a core team, right? They're a challenger team?
Yes, they are. Bulgaria does play Korea. Oh, boy.
Ooh,
Bulgaria does play Korea first match in Suwon in week 3 in about a week and a half. So
sorry, Dominican Republic is a challenger team? Or?
Yes, they are. They're a challenger team.
You have 4 of those challenger teams all sitting at the bottom right now with Bulgaria, Croatia, Dominican, and Thailand. That
Thailand's
is really
core, I'm pretty sure.
Are they?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Women's challenger teams: Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Dominican Republic, Poland. Yeah, Thailand is core.
Poland. Okay. Poland, funny. They're leading in it.
Right.
Still a challenger team. Okay, but still, you still have those 3 teams all sitting at the bottom there, which is pretty nuts. Dominican really struggling there with 3 wins, but only 7 points, winning a lot of those in 5. It's going to come down to the wire. I think it really is going to come down to the wire with this relegation race. And you're right. If Bulgaria plays Korea next week, that's a bit of a gimme. But do you want to talk about Canada and US's schedule a little bit for next week? In 2 weeks, we don't have to go over it too much. But for the USA, Poland, Bulgaria, Germany, and China.
Okay. Yeah, I like that schedule. Poland will be a tough match, but Bulgaria. Germany beatable, China be a good match. We can get at least 2 wins out of that.
Yeah,
but I was looking at the standings. I think that 6 wins. I think that if you want to make the playoffs, I think you need at least 6 wins. And already we have 6 teams that are at 6 wins. We've got those 2 5-3 teams, those 2 3-5 teams. I mean, if you're a team like Canada or Serbia, you've got to go 3-1 week 3, I think, to have a chance.
Canada, luckily, next week is going to be a little tough. We have Croatia and the Netherlands, which should be both wins for us.
Okay.
Maybe they're not the Netherlands if they show up the way they did, but then Brazil and Italy, which will be a little interesting as well. So
maybe Italy sends the B team yet again. I'm not sure.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling they will.
I have a feeling they will not.
No.
No, I think they're really in a tenuous spot for the playoffs. I think if they have any interest of actually winning this tournament, they need to bring some better bodies week 3.
I think if they had any interest in winning this tournament at all, they would have brought better bodies in week 2. Right? Like
they did go 4-0 though week 2. It's hard to fault them when they're the only undefeated team in week 2.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's some things there for sure, but I don't think Italy cares much, right? Like we're not going to see Oro. We're not going to see Agonu. We're not going to see Pietrini. Like,
certainly haven't seen him yet. Haven't seen Bossetti.
Exactly.
Haven't seen Kirikella. Haven't seen De Gennaro. Like, yeah, it's
exactly.
Haven't seen Antropova, which is a bummer. We'll see about it.
I was really hoping to see Antropova, but I think that you either go with the B team for week 1 and then go with others for week 2. Or you just go B team all the way. That's the way I think teams would be doing it. So
we'll see.
I guess we'll have to see. Anything else to mention here?
Agata in the chat says Italy's sending the B team again week 3. If that's already confirmed, that's you're right. Very interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, I think that's kind of it for women's week 2. I think that was nice little wrap up. Going to be spicy week 3, but I think before we shift our attention to the men, a couple things we got to talk about. One is that volleyball.store. Everett, let the people know.
Absolutely. If you guys want the beautiful spicy volleyball gear, I'm trying to do it. I'm just messing that up there. Head over to that volleyball.store. Use the code SPICY to get 15% off. Just a way to support us. You can get the 9x9 squared gear, 9x9 gear, spicy volleyball, all the fun stuff. So head over to that volleyball.store. And of course, we have to talk about our favorite game here on the 9x9. Where's Daddy? Once again, shout out to all the daddies in the world. We should have brought up what we really should have done is clipped out that clip of Taylor being like, there's a lot of daddies on the court today. for when we were talking about
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. But where is Daddy? Rob, this is your game. Let him know. I actually know where it is today. He showed me before, so I'm happy about that.
And I'm not going to tell you guys because remember, Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in one of our assets here, one of the graphics in the middle of the screen. During this show, I'm not going to tell you where he is, but if you find Daddy Stankovic and you comment after the stream is over, if you comment on the video, the timestamp of where he is, you get a shout out on next week's show. So last week, you can see the Canadian women's team has hired a new coach on the right side of the screen there, and it's none other than Daddy Stankovic.
Poor Vincenzo just getting shafted.
Hey, it is an honor to have your body used for Daddy Stankovic. So
that's true. And Vincenzo Maglia is Italian and has been in Canada now for a number of years, going to school and working and stuff like that. So maybe he will see the honor having, Daddy playing in his home country.
He should be honored. But we have a first time winner for Where's Daddy last week. John Lau was the first to comment. Daddy Stankovic pretending to be a member of the Canadian coaching staff. So well done. You nailed it.
We'd take him. Absolutely.
And it was a mad dash. We have several people immediately commenting, trying to find where Daddy Stankovic is. So great job, you guys. So good. Thanks for your participation. Gracias por participar, some might say. But remember, find where Daddy Stankovic is. Maybe he's already shown up. Maybe he'll show up in the second half of the shows. We'll preview Men's Week 2 here in a minute. But when you find Daddy, comment the timestamp of where he is after the live stream is over in like the main YouTube comment section.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, shout out to Devin in the chat who's saying, you have 100 plus 20 viewers. Actually, now it's down to 136. We had like 144 a second ago, almost at 150, but we've only got 28 likes on this here stream, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on now.
So please, if you're watching us, you at least find us a little bit entertaining, or you find us buffoons. But either way, hit that like button, give us some love. It's a great way to support us without spending any dollars or any energy whatsoever. Just double tap, click that thumbs up, and get us this likes as we move on now to week 2 for the men's VNL. We've got 2 locations going down, 2 European locations going down, which is kind of nice, but kind of not at the same time. We've got all the games going on during the daytime, but we have all the games going on during the daytime. So they're in the same simultaneously. So like starting tomorrow, we have 2 games at 7 a.m. Eastern time, 2 games at 10:30. And I feel like it's going to be like that the entire way. 1 week going out in Orléans, France, and the other one going down in Rotterdam, Netherlands. My Maple Volleys are in France. Rob, your team, USA Men's Volleyball, are in Rotterdam. Big stutter there. Thanks, Perhaps Walsh. How do we want to break this one down?
I think
which roster do you want to start with to talk about?
We'll kind of go down what we know. I guess alphabetically is a good way to do it. Not every team is posted. I mean, the U.S. is famous for literally never posting their roster until the very last minute. However, I think we do know what's going on there. Yeah, so Orléans, we got Japan, Canada, Argentina, Slovenia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Cuba, and of course the hosts France, the defending champs. Then in Rotterdam, Iran, Germany, the US, Serbia, China, Italy, Poland, and the Netherlands. I guess we can start with Argentina. Argentina is the first alphabetical team on the men's side, and their roster is identical with one very notable omission. No Luciano De Checo in week 2. So it's going to be Sanchez and Giraudo setting with everyone else the same.
Omission.
Yeah, it is.
That's a massive omission there for Argentina. And I think that's going to be good. Oh, no, wait. Canada doesn't play them. We already played them. Never mind. Never mind. That sucks. That sucks for us. So, yeah, I would expect Argentina to have much lesser week this week, just with that one roster change.
They actually do. They do have a pretty good schedule, though. Argentina plays
Slovenia, France, Bulgaria, Japan.
Right, and they're probably not going to beat France in France, but they could beat the rest of those teams. That could be a 3-1 week for them. That wouldn't surprise me that much. But them playing Argentina, Japan is going to be the most interesting one there for sure. But
yeah.
And that's later in the week, so we should tell the people that we're going to come back and do another show on Thursday. So
yes.
We're going to preview only the first 3 days, then we'll come back do a show to talk about the rest of the week.
Yes, absolutely. Especially because we're getting some good live numbers here. A lot of people tuning in for these 11 a.m. Eastern time shows. It goes well. Asia's still up. Europe's in the middle of their day, going into the evening, and of course here in North America, it's still morning for 3 more minutes.
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm an hour behind you. Let's move on to Brazil. Brazil is basically the same team we saw in Ottawa, with two exceptions. One is Lucas is back from his suspension for giving the finger at the World Championship, so he's back in the middle. And then some guy named Roque at opposite, who I know nothing about, will replace Abuba, but otherwise the same guys.
Yeah, fair enough. I expect to see more of Brazil from Brazil. Nothing from Bulgaria here.
Nah.
Not expecting anyone. And then coming into Canada, two somewhat big switches here. First and foremost, Brett Walsh coming in as the second setter. No Jay Blankenau on this roster. I'm a little surprised by that, given how he was named to the B team roster earlier this year. I thought it was kind of a done deal with Jay and Derek being the A-team rosters, but we know with the whole Luke her situation that's not the case here for Team Canada. So Luke Herr and Brett Walsh, it's going to be interesting to see if Coach Simon Vuol continues to just go with her, or maybe goes with Walsh instead, gives him a shot. And then also Sam Cooper coming in for Matthias instead of Matthias Elser. If you know Sam Cooper, you know how lethal he is from the baseline. He definitely has international pace from the baseline. Doesn't pass as well, though. So it looks like he's going to be used as a bit of a serving sub there.
So I'm seeing, but there's a question in the chat. Where can you find the rosters? They should be updated either now or very soon on the VNL, like the official VNL website. This year, like the rosters that you can find are per week. And what I'm seeing for Canada is that they have 5 outside hitters. So Melser is there.
Oh wait, I am seeing Melser.
Cooper. And Jordan Schnitzer, the fourth middle blocker, is the one that didn't make that trip. So
you're absolutely right. I completely missed that. It's kind of Melser's down there with the 99 at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
a bunch
roster.
of Canadian switch jersey numbers this year. I'm not sure I like that very much. It's confusing me.
Yeah. So okay, no Schnitzer for this one, which I think is a little bit interesting.
Just 3 middles and 5 outsides.
Okay, I guess Schnitzer just wasn't up to snuff, or they're giving him some time off. But yeah,
they also didn't use them all week one. They really only used 3 middles week one. So I guess Samelvoa thought that he could use that 14th spot in a kind of different way.
That does make sense, because Schnitzer is like, he's a little bit newer to the game. Like, remember, he only really came on this scene in his last year for Trinity, which was last season.
Right.
So this is really only, he came from Briarcrest College, which is a seminary over in the ACAC out of Saskatchewan. So he's still getting used to that international game. Like last summer with the B team was his really first foray into all of that. So that's not too much of a surprise. You've got 3 solid guys in the middle. Wait, am I seeing Shenko here at all?
Yeah, so there's something weird about the VNL website, in that they're cutting off the player at the very top of the screen. Yeah, but Shenko's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for Canada. China, same as week one. Who cares? Cuba, same as week one. But the only thing I'm still not sure about is the coach. We were
Ronnie. Did you lie to us?
Yeah. Did they fire Coach Vives or whatever his name is? Did they do that like we expect? I am honestly not sure. But let me look and see if the website says anything.
I wonder if they can do it, if they can legally do it in the middle of VNL.
I mean,
if Vives is still there.
I was about to say Slovenia did it last year, but no, they didn't. They did
it in between VNL and World Champs. So, all right, interesting.
Okay, moving on to a couple teams that have been kind enough to post their rosters on Instagram. One is France. We should talk about this French roster because they're playing at home. We thought that because they're playing at home, then we would see the guys, but not quite. No Irvin Ingapet, no Benjamin Toniuti, and no Nicolas Legoff. So 3 of their Olympic starters are not taking the chance to play VNL at home. I'm not really sure why. They do have everybody else. So they've got Brizard, they've got both opposites, they've got Cleveno and Luati, they've got Grebenikov, but no Ingapet, no Toniuti, no Legoff. I was surprised by those 3.
I mean, I think they just want some time off, probably. Once again, I think for European teams, Eurovolley more important, right? Eurovolley more important than VNL, and you're gonna have to do that and the Olympic qualifiers right
Nope,
afterwards.
not France. France is already qualified. They're hosting.
France is already qualified. Yeah, then these boys are just chilling, right? they are just chilling, right? So I bet you it's really one of those situations like who feels good to come back. Like, come on, we've made fun of Chunga a few times here that he doesn't look like he's in shape. He's a little bit older now. Give him some time off. Same thing with LeGuff. These guys are all veterans who deserve some time off, and you need some of that infusion of young talent in this French system.
Yeah, fair enough. And Rafael Corre will not be the second setter this week. He's a little banged up. They have some other guy. Don't know who he is behind Broussard. Doesn't really matter that much. Let's move on to talk about Germany. Germany made 2 changes. One is what's his name? Yeah, Jan Zimmerman will be the setter instead of Lucas Kampa next to Johannes Thiele. And then no Lucas Massa for some reason. I wonder if he's a little bit banged up because we didn't see him in Ottawa nearly as much as we expected to in the middle.
Yeah, I was actually going through some clips on my phone the other day, and it just looked like he wasn't like we were so impressed with him in the middle last year at VNL, and it just seems like he wasn't contacting and connecting with the ball as good. I wonder if there's a bit of a shoulder issue there. And once again, yeah, that's just my own pure conjecture of just watching clips from my phone from Ottawa. So could be interesting.
Actually, there are many.
Yes, of which there are many. Actually, funnily enough, I have this on my phone. But when I was looking at the 30-man roster for Germany, you know what? Never mind. It may have been no. So when you look at the 30-man roster from Germany, there is no Denis Caliberta on this 30-man roster.
Oh, I mean, he played week 1, so he had to.
I know, but the numbers from like he's 3 number here. If you look at the week 1 roster, he was Ruben Schott is 3. You can't see it on my phone. I should have sent it to you. So I'm wondering if there's a conspiracy here, and if Kelly Barrett isn't on the 30-man roster, does that mean Canada's the win because he played in the game?
That is the most pitiful thing I've ever heard. Trying to get a roster forfeit from a team that you should have just beaten anyway. Get out of here.
You're not wrong. We should have just beaten them. I just want to stay in Vienna. All right. What else do we have to look at here? For
moving on, next is Iran. The only difference I saw in their roster is that Maisam Salehi is back at outside hitter, a guy who I really like. So I'm excited to see him. But otherwise, pretty much the same. But the big roster I think we got to talk about this week is Italy. Got to talk about Italy. Because other than, for some reason, their world championship libero, Balasso, getting the week off, I don't really know why. Everybody's back. Gianelli's back. Spertoli's back. Micheletto and Lavia are back. All 3 middles and Zani Galassi Russo are all back. So this is the A team with the exception of Balasso. And you got Magalini and I think Rinaldi is the other outside hitter in that crew. So good for him. But yeah, this is the Italian team that basically won the world championship last year, and that is going to completely turn this VNL on its head, in my opinion, because week 1 they just did not look all that good.
I mean, they still what did they finish 2-2?
They went 2-2.
Yeah, that's still decent, better than us. So they didn't look fantastic. They still look like Italy. Once again, they were who we thought they were. Right throughout the entirety of that week, they were who we thought they were.
Not really. They got stomped in their 2 losses by the Dutch and by the US.
Yeah, but I don't know that they were figuring it out. So I don't mind this. I like this Italian roster. I obviously think they're going to do better. I don't think they're necessarily going to turn things on their heads. I think we saw last year that they struggled a little bit in the VNL where they lose. They got stomped by France pretty hard. In the bronze medal match, they got stomped by France in the semis, and then Poland in the bronze medal match. They got 3-donged at home in both those matches, and that was not good. Exactly. So we were kind of writing them off going into World Champs due to those results. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring to the table in this one. Moving forward from Italia. Might be one of the best anthems, just a little bit too long, though. Japan, looking like the same. The Dutch, we don't know, but we got this from one of their players or coaches last year that they're going to be, or when we were in Ottawa, that Termat and Terhorst will be joining the Dutch roster.
Those guys are both on the roster for week 2, according to the website. So I think that's confirmed.
That's massive. I think obviously Terhost just adds a little bit of depth on that left side, a little bit of experience, and Termat. Honestly, Termat and Namir might be the best 1-2 scoring punch on the right side in all of volleyball. Right, like either way you go, that way you're going to have some quality. And I think we saw down the stretch that the Dutch are actually pretty strong. Like we saw Martin van Garderen step up. We saw Benny Twinstra step up. So adding Terhorst and Termaten into that mix really, really good for the Dutch who are coming into a home weekend.
I totally agree. I think it's either Namir and Termat or maybe Bruno Lima and Kukartsev for Argentina. Those two opposite duos are both really, really good.
I think those two are really, really good when playing with DeCheco. But
okay, fair enough.
As a pure scorer, Lima and like Lima's playing in France, Kukartsev's playing in Belgium. Both Termat and Namir are going toe to toe on the Champions League.
Kukartsev almost single-handedly won the CEV Cup on a Belgian team, to his credit, but
he did have a few. I'm not saying he's not talented, but I think there's a step away from those other guys. Real quick, Maxim Artemov, no, that Hawaii dude is not playing for the Netherlands. He sprained his ankle in Ottawa and was sitting with us in the stands the entire time.
That is Stein von Tilburg, who we got to talk to in Ottawa. Yeah, he's got his foot in a boot. We won't see him anytime soon, unfortunately. He is with the team, though. Next, we got to talk about Poland. Poland's roster is a very interesting one.
Oh, let's go. It is
spicy.
Very interesting. Yes, it is interesting.
Completely a mixed team. It's like there are some huge names, and then there are some huge missing names. First of all, no Marcin Janusz for some reason. That one does confuse me a little bit. Like if Grbić, if you're going to bring all your guys, you might as well also bring your starting setter, but apparently no, not yet. So it's Womack and Firle setting. It is Bartosz Kurek. He is back at opposite. And Bolanj, the lefty from Gdansk, will be the second opposite because Dulski is injured. So that's the only difference with what you're seeing on the screen here. Pavel Zatorsky is back at libero. And then, of course, we got to talk about the outside hitters. Wilfredo Leon in his first match for Poland in almost 2 years. Tomas Fornal, who we love. Artur Shalpuk, who earned his spot after being great week 1. And then Bartosz Bednors. Those are the 4 outside hitters. What a crew.
Oh,
and then
man.
In the middle, you got
Poland this week.
Kochanowski and Huber, and then 2 kind of B-team guys in Adamczyk and Urbanovic. So no Biniak and no Kłos, which is a bit of a bummer. But this is kind of like the mixed team that I'm talking about. You've got 4 amazing outside hitters and Kurek, but they're not going to play with their starting setter, which I think is kind of interesting.
Didn't we see? We definitely saw Close last weekend. Did we see Biniak as well?
We did. Yeah, they both played week 1.
In the same thing, we saw Semeniak. We haven't seen Slivka. Slivka was one of the guys we haven't
we have
seen
not
yet
seen Slivka or Janusz yet, or Kaczmarek for that matter.
Or Kaczmarek, yeah. So those three Zaksa guys still yet to be seen. And I mean, hey, when you're Poland and you can run your roster like this, run it like this. I think all eyes need to be on Poland this week just to see what decisions are made, especially on the left side, right? Between Bednors and Leon and Fornal and Shalpuk, who's just buried his way in there into the conversation as well. Which I love. You have 6 legitimate left sides who any other country in the world would consider a top 3 left side on their team. You have 6 of them. Share some of the wealth. Come on.
It's nuts.
It's a little bit ridiculous, but I am definitely going to be trying to watch as much as Poland this week just to see A, what roster they're coming to, and B, how they look. Although it really doesn't matter into the quarterfinals anyway, because everyone knows that's when they choke.
That's a great point. It is so that they played a scrimmage at home versus Argentina the other day with this group, and they beat them 4-0. They played a bonus set and still won. I'm interested about the setters. I'm not super high on Womack, and I do like Firle, but he didn't have a very good week 1. So that's going to be interesting for sure. But I also, like you said, the outside hitter position. There was somebody in the Poland channel on the Discord saying that Grbić said somewhere in an interview that in their biggest matches this week, he's probably going to play Fornal and Bednors just to see how those guys hold up. And obviously that means Wilfredo Leon, not that he's not considered among their starters right now, but he Grbić said that he really wants to see how Fornal and Bednors do together and in big moments, and I'm very curious about that.
Interesting. I guess you kind of know what you're going to get from Wilfredo Leon, which, for better or for worse, that's what's kind of looking there.
Usually for better. He's the best player in the world.
I mean, yes, on paper he is. Results-wise, you can't make that argument right now. Like, when's the last time he won anything major? I guess the World Club Championships, but that also always has an asterisk on it at the best of times. So, yeah. Man, it's really interesting to see. I really like that dynamic between Grbić and Fornal. We saw it kind of play out last year in Ottawa, and I really like this because it's two athletes who are kind of similar, and it just provides so many different opportunities there.
Yeah, very, very fascinating week for Poland. Next up is Serbia. Serbia's got a couple interesting characters back, namely Marko Ivovic and Aleksandar Atanasijevic. We keep thinking this man might retire, but he just refuses to go away. So Serbia bringing three opposites. Atanasijevic, Ljuburic, and Vučićević, I believe, are all in the mix. I think it's Ivovic, Kujundžić, Peric, and Katic at outsides, which are all four really good players. And then good middles, no Pedrašinin yet, but I think you get Krsmanovic, Masulovic, and Nedeljkovic at least. But Serbia's issue will be setter and libero. Brand new setter, brand new libero this year. I'm curious to see how those guys do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see some of these big names back, but I still think Ljuburic is the guy to go for if you're Serbia.
I agree.
The way he's playing both in club and for country so far. I think you have to continue.
Yeah, Ljuburic is the man. Slovenia, second to last on the list. I think their roster is the same. Still no Vincic, still no Tonček Stern, but they've got The Rock, they've got Čebul, they've got Earnout, they've got Ropret, they've got the middles. I think it's going to be the same crew as we saw week one, and then that leaves us only with the United States. And there are three interesting moves that the USA has made this week. One is that Thomas Jeschke is back. Thank God. Thrilled about that. And he's replacing Garrett Mwangatutia. So Cody Kessel is the fourth outside hitter, which I also love. I think he earned that spot with that performance against Brazil off the bench last week.
Absolutely. I thought Cody Kessel was fantastic. And I know both you and I have been kind of pulling for maybe Jordan Ewert to get a look in that spot. But Cody Kessel looked fantastic for USA at a number of spots. But it does look, Rob, like they're going with Jake Haynes over Kyle Hensing. Kyle Hensing not on the roster as they bring in Tuaniga and bring back D'Agostino. Kyle Hensing not there. Jake Haynes still around.
Why? We know that Matt Anderson can't play 4 matches. Like we know he's not going to play 4 matches this week. He's just not in the position in his career to handle that level of load. And we saw how bad Jake Haynes was last time out. We gave him the start against Brazil. He was awful. Terrible offensively and blocking in on defense. He served the ball well, but that was it. I do not understand why Haynes is getting looks over Kyle Hensing and Kyle Russell. I just don't get it.
Yeah, especially because especially if you see them in person, like Kyle Hensing isn't that undersized. He's like 6'6". Like he's a big. He's
6'7", I think, on the roster.
He jumps well. He gets up there. He puts up a good block. He
carried us to a VNL final last year.
Especially with Josh Tuaniga coming back, they have that connection, right? And as you said, you've seen him do it before. So I really don't understand it going with Jake Haynes as opposed to Kyle Hensing. But hey, good for Jake Haynes to get out there and get some reps.
I guess. And then we do see Tuaniga this week as the second setter. First match is back from his elbow injury from his club season. So that means no Micah Ma'a. We also are bringing 2 liberos this time. So we're going to see Kyle D'Agostino and Eric Shoji and only 2 opposites, whereas we brought 3 week 1. So those are the only differences for the USA. I am so excited that Thomas Jeschke is back. So excited.
That's a huge thing for you guys in this one. I definitely thought, like we talked about it after Ottawa, that USA lacked a little bit of depth on the left side, especially the way, like, it doesn't matter how Cody Kessel played. Having Jeschke there would just be such a huge addition to this roster. Huge. And the fact that you can have 3 guys who are just as lethal in Jeschke and DeFalco and Russell is really scary for other teams moving forward. Yep. I think.
The U.S. has got Serbia, China, Iran, and Poland this week in that order. I would say we play the starters against Serbia. We play the bench against China. We should win both of those matches. Iran always gives us trouble.
Yes.
And then Poland, we actually usually do pretty well against. We lost to them in the VNL preliminary round last year, but then beat them in the semifinals convincingly before, obviously, last year's World Championship is what it is. So I'm curious to see what we do in that match. But I think let's jump into the schedule for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because, again,
Yes.
we will be back with a show on Thursday. But this is interesting this week, Everett. Like you said, we've got matches going on at the same time because they're in the same time zone in Europe. But also, like, the distribution of matches on days is different than it was week one. We've got 3 matches Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Each,
I think some I've seen some, and I think it happened in the women's tournament too, where they're trying not to have 3 matches on the Sunday. I think it's really tough. Like, when you think about having that 11 a.m. match in Ottawa on the Sunday, it was tough after a long week, right? So I think maybe that's where teams are going away from it. But yeah, we got a full docket of matches here on Tuesday. Obviously, got to be watching that Japan versus Canada one. We have some revenge to serve against Nishida, still back from the World Cup in 2019. Looking forward to this week. I really want to see Canada show me something. Like, show me a glimpse of what I saw in that exhibition match against Brazil. Because I'm a little bit worried about our relegation steps. I really am.
Yeah, so Canada has an interesting schedule. They've got 3 matches in the first 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You guys have got Japan, followed by Slovenia, followed by Bulgaria. And that Bulgaria match on Thursday is 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And I think what we should do, Everett, is watch that match and then immediately start the show on Thursday, basically as soon as that's over, like before the afternoon matches. I think that would, to get your live reactions in an absolute must-win game, right after a must-win game against Bulgaria, I think that would be amazing content.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you think that would be amazing content.
It would be amazing content.
Either elated, and I don't work on Thursday too, so maybe either me being elated or just being absolutely crushed, because if we can't find a way to beat Bulgaria, I do think we're going to do it, especially like talking to some of the guys after Ottawa, and just being like, hey, like everyone, I was like, hey, like, how do we feel about like relegation? And all of them were like, no, like, we're not getting relegated. And they were very steadfast about that. And I also think like that's going to, like, Semen Vuo was also just going to be like, hey, we're not going to be relegated. But at the end of the day, we are in a tough spot. We can't go to the bench and bring in, guys like Thomas Jaski. This is where Lepke and Barnes would make a massive help on this roster, but they're obviously they're just not available, and these are the guys that we need to go with. So Japan and Bulgaria in these first, and Slovenia.
Yep.
So we play 3 games in 3 days here to kick this off. Japan, Slovenia, and Bulgaria. Those are going to be some big matches. But otherwise, what are we looking at here?
So Tuesday, Iran versus Germany and Japan versus Canada are both at 7 a.m. Eastern. The United States versus Serbia and Argentina versus Slovenia, both at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And then sort of the evening featured games. The Netherlands will get an easy free home win against China on Tuesday night, and Brazil versus Bulgaria. Probably not going to watch either of those 2 games. Wednesday, we've got Iran versus Italy and Japan versus Cuba. I think
I might actually watch those. Yeah, both of those seem kind of actually good.
We saw Japan-Cuba at the World Championship. That was the subject of my comment last year, that it was the worst setting performance I've ever seen in my life from Cuba at that point. Maybe they can be better this time.
If we can get the Taboada, who we saw for Cuba against Brazil.
Yeah, Taboada looked much better that game.
Taboada looked much better for Cuba against Brazil. So I think that is that's definitely one to watch, and could be a good one. Next up, Slovenia versus Canada. Obviously, I'll be watching that one. I think that one is a possible, like, that's one that we could potentially win. Like, that's in the realms of possibility. It might be a slight stretch. It might be a straight stretch, and we'd need a game from probably Stephen Marr or Ryan Sclater. Like, one of those guys would need to step up and have a game. But hey, Slovenia's been all over the place. They did 3 by Bulgaria. It's in the realm of possibility. And then of course at the same time, USA versus China. That
Easy
one,
money.
like, you might as well just watch Canada versus Slovenia.
And I probably will, to be honest. So, like, what you got to think about with the Slovenia matchup is they have the same schedule as you guys. They also play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what we saw week 1 from Slovenia is when they go away from their starting 7, when they try and play even one bench player, their level drops significantly. So,
yeah.
But I was also very critical of Slovenia week 1. I think their strategy should have been to play their starters against bad teams instead of playing their starters against good teams, because they played their bench against Bulgaria and got 3-donged. Huge mistake. So I think Slovenia plays Argentina, then Canada, then Cuba. How is Slovenia going to manage their roster, and might Canada get lucky with Slovenia choosing to play the bench on Wednesday? I think that might be an opening for you guys. Maybe.
Absolutely. I want Cretu to overlook us. I want Cretu to be like, Canada, whatever, in his Romanian accent, and popped collar. No coach in volleyball has a pop collar quite like Cretu. But yeah, that's what I'm really hoping for.
Battle the last 2 Zaxa coaches on that one. That'll be kind of fun.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're just picking them up like Pokemon cards at this point. It doesn't really matter because they still win the Champions League. 3 different coaches for Zaxa, which is pretty nuts. But I know, especially in talking to Samuel Vuo in that after that last match against Germany, he kind of, he kind of even said himself, like, maybe I should have rested the guys last night against the USA in preparation for that Germany match. So I definitely think that we might see a resting of some guys against Japan to go hard against Slovenia and Bulgaria.
You must
what I would
beat Bulgaria. Yeah, and
yeah,
I agree. Must beat Bulgaria. Must beat Bulgaria. And so you're going to have to pick either Japan or Slovenia to play the bench. You're going to have to pick one, and I'm not sure which one he's going to pick. But Bulgaria is an absolute must-win. So we'll talk about Wednesday or Thursday in a second. But Germany versus Poland and Argentina versus France on Wednesday night. I think Argentina versus France in Orléans. I think that could be pretty fun. Probably a good crowd.
It will be a good crowd. I'm interested to see. Overall, I'm just interested to see how much of a step back Argentina takes without Pacheco.
I agree. That's going to be very fascinating.
That's just going to be the story for me, because I think Argentina is a mid-tier team without Pacheco. With Pacheco, they're lethal, right? I think they have the ability to potentially on a given day, they have the ability to beat anyone.
Yeah, without him, you might see Sanchez, and he's obviously a great setter, but a huge blocking liability. Or you see Hiraudo, who's the taller guy who I like, but is nowhere even close to the setter that Pacheco is. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Then Thursday, China versus Italy. Don't bother. Japan versus Brazil. That match will be good. So if you're awake at 7 a.m. Eastern, that is clearly the one to watch on Thursday morning.
I might just set my alarm for like 7 a.m. this entire week and just wake up and watch volleyball. It's not that much earlier from when I wake up anyways. So
it's 6 a.m. my time. That's pretty tough. So I don't know if I can commit to that. But Japan versus Brazil will be good. Then Canada versus Bulgaria. We already said it's a must-win for the Maples. Serbia versus Germany. I like that matchup because I called a game of theirs last year in Ottawa that was a 5-set banger. So maybe that'll happen again. But then what we'll do is on Thursday, after those middle 2 games, after Canada, Bulgaria, and Serbia, Germany, we will do our next show. That will be before the Netherlands versus Poland and Slovenia versus Cuba on Thursday evening. So we will do sort of a mid-round show on Thursday after those second 2 games.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's going to be good. Both of those games, I think, are going to be all right. I think Slovenia, Cuba has the potential to have fireworks just because the Rock can be just as offensively minded as any of those Cubans.
Yeah, I think that could be fun. But the Netherlands at home versus Poland is just really interesting. That could be kind of good.
I think that could be kind of good too, because a lot of those Dutch players, I think they can get up for it.
Sure.
Also, reality check in the chat coming in saying huge step back, friendly versus Poland last week, talking about Argentina, and they looked really bad.
They did look pretty bad. I watched portions of that scrimmage, and Argentina didn't look nearly as good. But it's a scrimmage; it's not a VNL match. Exactly. Take that with a grain of salt.
I mean, we beat Brazil, and then Germany. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, great stuff. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday after the Canada versus Bulgaria and Serbia Germany games for our next episode of the 9x9. That will be very fun because you're going to get a very emotional Everett, one direction or the other. I'm very excited about that.
I'll also be like, because I work the night before, so I will have had not no sleep, but I'll definitely have lesser sleep. And yeah, it depending on how we do could really affect my mood more.
Yeah, that will be very fun. So
Kevin,
question, do I think US will sweep Serbia? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think that we will play our starting roster. I think that we will sweep Serbia. Then I think we will play the bench against China, and we will still sweep them. So I do think that we will go 6-0 in sets to start the week. But then Iran and Poland after that, we lost to them both at VNL last year. That could really go either way. But I do think that the U.S. will start the week 6-0 in sets.
Honestly, I think with the VNL, we've seen it, like especially with Serbia on the women's side last year, that if you just make it into the playoffs, anything
can
goes,
happen. Absolutely.
Right? Just make it to the playoffs and anything goes at that point. It's like the NHL out here, anyone can beat anyone. Well, I guess the NBA is a little bit more unpredictable now with the Heat making that run.
Yeah, the VNL's fun. I mean, we have lots of thoughts about VNL and its overall global significance and the way it impacts the world rankings and all that. But they are fun matches, and the playoff race is fun. So we will be back on Thursday to talk about the matches for the next couple of days. Join the Volleyball Source Discord. The link is in the description for that. It is the best online volleyball chat community in the world by far. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. And anything else, Everett, or can we get the people out of here?
No, get the people out of here. Definitely join the Discord. It's been popping off of late.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I can't even follow it as much just because of how much is going. But definitely join the Discord. As Rob said, it's the best online volleyball community in the world. Doesn't matter where you're from. You can find someone to talk to about volleyball.
Totally. It's great. So thank you guys for watching. We like taking this Monday, the one day off we have per week of VNL games, and using it to catch up on what's going on.
I kind of like it, and it looks like the people do too. Good numbers for this show.
Yeah, very good numbers for this show. So I'm excited for this week of men's VNL. We will be back on Thursday. Enjoy the games. We'll see you in the Discord, and we'll see you Thursday afternoon.
Peace.